What's up, guys? Michael Sweet with the Michael Sweet Journal. So, what do you do when the client contacts you and says they were disappointed in their product? I bet you've happened to have this happen to you before in some capacity, especially if you're like me, a bakerpreneur who creates really awesome cakes and desserts for clients. Now, it is probably the most frustrating phone call or even email or even text or whatever messenger program you use to just receive a statement that I am disappointed with what I received. Now, there's a couple things that are going on here. First off is what standards have you established and what's going on with this client? Now, put in perspective first that when you are making a cake for someone, or you're creating a new bread recipe, or you already have an established brownie recipe that you are creating, and you make that and sell it to someone else for them to consume and enjoy, or if they're giving it out as a gift to someone else. A couple things to consider is their opinion, though important, is irrelevant. And I say that for the single perspective that what they think should be secondary to what you are creating, for what you're creating for you. So, for example, if you're making that beautiful cake and your standards are at a point where you are going to be putting in your top work for that cake, this is the reason why you're charging what you charge, then the result that you create should have been at the standards which you expect from yourself or from another team member you have that might be doing the work. So that should be your paramount. Whatever comes out of that work should be at that level, if not even better than that. And that is your expectation. And if it meets that, then it has scored an A, it has done its job. And regardless of what the customer says, you did exactly what it is that you were striving out to produce. So if it was, say, a chocolate cake, your chocolate recipe, with your filling recipe, with your specific design that you created for the outside, and it came out perfect. The cake was exactly as expected, the filling is exactly as expected, and the outside is perfect. Regardless of what the customer says, you did the exact thing that you wanted to do. You created exactly what it is that you were striving to achieve. And so that pride, that outcome should be resting on you. And if the customer comes back and says, I'm very disappointed in it, well, there's nothing I can do about that other than it was exactly what we expected. And if that was not your expectations, then it was your job as the customer to have understood what it is that you were purchasing. Now let's backtrack a little bit and say, what if the design was perfect, but the cake was not quite up to par, up to what you expect? And it could have been better, but you decided, you know what, I knew I skipped this one little thing, but still came out fine. Let's just stick with it. Regardless of what the customer says, you have to hold that on yourself, that your expectations were lowered, that you decided that it's okay to produce a subpar product below the standards for which you established. It is your product. It is what you produced. Are you happy with that outcome? Because if you are, then your standards need to be adjusted to follow those lower standards that you are now accepting. And so if the customer orders from you, and let's say the customer is dissatisfied with that product because, again, your standards were up here, but what the customer see was subpar to that there is on you. That is you not achieving your values, not producing to your standards, not producing what will make you the most fulfilled, bring you the most joy, bring you the make you feel the most pride for what the effort you produce. And therefore you need to bring it down, or otherwise scold yourself in a capacity that you will not do it again. As far as the customer goes, you make the call. Do you want to do a credit or a refund or redo the cake or something? That is up to you. That really has nothing to do with how you should be accepting the what was produced. If anything, use that as a means to scold yourself, if that is going to be your thing. Well, I'm not going to accept this. I'm just going to have to refund the money, and I'm going to have to suck it up and do better next time. Okay. But for who? And why? Are you going to suck it up and do better next time for you or for the customer? I would hope that it's the former. You are going to do better for you. You want to produce the highest rated product that you are striving to produce for your business. Now, does that mean that you should ultimately be pursuing a cake that is always worth $1,000 when it was only feeding 8 people? No, that's not your goal. Perhaps is not to create such a cake, but your goal is to create a cake design and look that really emphasizes your skills, skills which you truly appreciate, you enjoy doing, that you can grow upon at your ability. So if that is what you produce, and you charge accordingly, and you stick to those standards, then whoever says anything will never be affecting you, and you can make the determination that, you know what, this is my standards, I've achieved my standards, the customer is not satisfied, that's the customer's problem. And then at that point, you can determine how you approach the customer. If it's this is simply the standards which we set for the product, so you say to yourself, or you tell the customer in instance, this is the product that you purchased. This is the look. It was the cake flavor. I am uncertain as to what the issue is. You say you were dissatisfied, but what we both are in agreement with is exactly what you ordered, and that was exactly what was produced. And let the conversation go from there. Sometimes they're just looking for an easy credit or reimbursement. I've had that 100 times where they call and you can just tell, like off the bat, all they want is just a refund for the sake of getting a refund and screwing you over. But you can't assume that's all the customers. Some folks, it could have been they just got in an argument when they received the cake. It was a bad timing, so naturally it's your fault, not the situation that they were going through. It could have been anything, you don't know. But what we do know, what you do know, what I know are the standards that we each establish for our products. So remember that next time someone calls and said they're dissatisfied with the product, ask yourself, did I produce this at the standards that I set for myself, for my business, that I established, so that my team members could achieve that, and did they achieve that? And if they did, pursue the conversation accordingly. If they didn't, then you have an answer to that question as well. Hope that helps out in your next run-in with customers contacting you that are dissatisfied. If you haven't already done so, definitely like the video, share with others, especially other bakerpreneurs who are running into this issue of the customers not satisfied. Definitely want to hear your comments, what experiences you had or your friends had in regards to customers who called up in that regard. If you haven't already done so, definitely also subscribe to the channel. Until the next video, peace out, everybody.